Another beautiful morning in paradise in Thailand. Today's clips are dedicated to Robert Puffman, 1976, via the lime green shirt. Another 50 baht shirt in your honor, Robert. All right, fence team has been up this morning and they are putting rebar through the fence poles as we suspected. And imagine they'll run some verticals as well as these horizontals. Once they get them in, I think they're going to bring in forms because I heard them mention something about forms way back when we first talked about it. The spacing on these. So anyhow, they'll bring in some forms to form up the sides of these and then pour the top. And I imagine they will get this rebar done probably today if they've got all the materials. Roof team is back in. One of my little missions today is to move this pole out. You can see the wires are touching the house up there. I don't want them to get caught in the wind and sit there and rub, so I'm going to go ahead and move this out, give them plenty of room to work on the house here. Probably the big news of the day, they're having to drop down the tops of these concrete on these parking poles because, as you can see, they're too tall. To get the slope we need across here, apparently they got to take those out. It's an error on somebody's part, not a big deal. They'll get it corrected. I surmised last night that, oh, they are fascia boards. Oh, I was going to say I surmised last night these are fascia boards, but they're not. They're like a starter strip, but I guess they are fascia boards. So I thought I was wrong, but guess what? I was wrong. I was right all along. So these are going to be fascia boards, and then the soffit will just come back from there. And then the shingles or tiles, we're going to probably call them tiles going forward, but they'll just overhang the edge of that a little bit, I'm sure. I thought maybe they'd get all this steel up today, but I didn't know they had to cut these poles off. Having to cut these poles off, it might be another day yet, but it's kind of a funky looking animal there. It's a magnet of some kind. Looks like they got the steel all painted. Shame because it's cracking up the tops of the pole, but they'll skim coat it so you won't see it, but it's just a shame we got to break it all up. So once we get this in, then I want to tie into the top of this to get a roof for this pump house, but this doesn't need to be that tall because it's just going to be basically motorbike parking and pump equipment. So that's our update for the morning. Not going to bother you again unless something comes up that's new and interesting. I'm going to go see if I can find a hammer to get this moved while it's not too hot out. So I'm going to have to dig that out of there. And I just need to move it out a foot or so, which is a shame, but it needs to be done, so I'll do it. As you can see, the fence guys have got the vertical rods in, rebar, whatever you want to call them. They're literally steel rods. Not sure why they got the loop at the top. Maybe they're somehow going to tie in the beam to those loops, which would make sense. But they got them in almost to the corner here, and then they come over here and start working on this side. And they're starting at that end. They'll come down here, tie it all together. They did this one pretty quick, so I think they'll probably get through this pretty quick yet today. If they don't get it done today, it'll be done early tomorrow. So it just depends on the forms and when they'll get here and how long they take to set those up. Here, guys, you can see they got the fascia board on around here. Down that side, they're getting ready to make the corner down there. They've got the tops of all these cut off now. He's putting plates on them. And he's building beams, I'm assuming, to go here and probably up here. Ooh, somebody broke my concrete. Bastards. Sompit and I talked last night. She's wanting to put a small uncovered patio off this back corner, so I think we agreed on a 3 meter by 3 meter pad right there. Just a flat concrete pad. Plunge pool here. I don't know if we're going to do that, but we may. Maybe 3 meter by 2 meter plunge pool or something. 2 by 2. I don't know. We'll see. So, midday update. Yeah. Another day winding down in Paradise. Looks like they got all the rebar in for the fence. Who and I kind of pushed some dirt back up against that beam, which looks pretty good because it's a nice slope. So I'm not sure if he's got forms in the back of the truck here or what. Oh, he's got sand in there. So I'm not sure what he's planning on doing. He's standing over there, but the backhoe's sitting up here. All the reinforcement in, so I don't know. I think they're just waiting for forms now. Roof guy's working on the fascia all day. That corner don't look very good up there. If they don't plan on leaving that like that, that's not acceptable. Really haven't had any problems at all with these guys until I see that error there. And I thought I seen one over there about the same way. But the other thing they did is they got all the plates on top of the beams. They got the beam put up there. This one caught me off guard here. I figured they would anchor bolt the beam right along there and just run them across, but they actually anchor bolted plates like on the top of the columns to each of these columns. And I'm assuming he's just putting this shelf thing up here, this bracket, to hold the beam in place while they weld it, and then they'll take it down. But it looks like they're going to take this beam right here and put it up and weld it to those plates, which is a good idea. I just didn't expect to see that, I guess. But this is probably easier to do it this way. A little more work, but in the end, easier to get the beam up there and hold it in place and just weld it. Their fascia boards look pretty good. I didn't like that corner down there. It looked like crap. This one looks pretty good. This side looks pretty good. I will say these guys are really, really slow going on these fascia boards. I mean, today, it took like 3 guys all day to go that side and this side, which to me is just crazy. We'll let them give them a chance to fix it on their own. If they don't, then I'll call Duke and talk to him about it. That other corner over there, they spent like 45 minutes just getting those 2 boards to meet up in that corner. As long as it's done right, I don't care how long it takes them. But like I said, that corner over there looks like crap. So I don't know. I thought they were going to use rented forms on this fence, because when we were talking about it, he was talking about the forms being 2.5 meters long, and he wanted to keep a 2.5 meter spacing on these poles. Because on the other side of that driveway, I got 6 meters, so he was wanting me to adjust it to 5 to get 2 even spaces on it. But I just said no. I said I can't have the gate that far off center of the driveway. So when you get a beam here, a meter of fence up here, again, the beam will be the same height as everything else all the way around, so it should look pretty decent. After this, there's only 2 more pieces left to do. That's the one from the blue here down to that stake. Again, same height on the top beam, so that one will be a little bit different. It'll just be a trench. Imagine they'll only go down maybe a meter of wall, which would put the beam 50 up, 50 under, and then the post a meter up on top. They got this one, and then the 6 meter piece I talked about over on the other side over there. And that leaves me with 2 5.5 meter long gates. Way more than I wanted here, but honestly, it's not a bad thing because that gives me more room to make this corner here with this narrow road. I'm going to wrap up another day in Paradise for you all, but I'll be here for a couple more hours. So, good morning from Paradise in Thailand. It's the property. I'm here by myself. The wall crew decided they were going to go home for 3 days. They haven't been home since they started over a month ago, so I don't have an issue with that. But said they're waiting on supplies. My guess is they're waiting for forms for that wall. But here nor there, these guys should show up any minute, the roof guys. But I want to climb up here and follow up and take a look at these rods that I complained about the other day and make sure they got welded. Hold on. A rickety ass old ladder they built here, but it's better than nothing. I'm going to take you with me so I don't have to go up there twice. Well, they were told to do it, or at least I was told they were told. Whoa. I was told they were told to do it. So now we're going to see if they did. And they did right here. So that's what I wanted. Not the greatest welds, but at least I can, now they're welded on both sides too. But at least I can sleep at night now the rest of my life and not worry about my house roof blowing off. And I told Sampit, highly unlikely that it would ever happen. There's a lot of weight up here with these cement tiles and all this steel, but you never know. Big storm come through, heavy gust of wind, and it doesn't have to blow it off, but it lifts it enough that it drops back down on your noggin. It might be a bad deal, huh? So this is the upper beam for the outdoor area here. They're getting ready to put it up on those stands they made last night for it. So it should overlap the beam about the same as that, which isn't much. Actually, it looks like there's a mark on that plate where it's supposed to be. Now, talking about making sure somebody goes around and picks up all this trash at the end of the day. There's a whiskey bottle over there. I don't think that was these guys. Maybe it was. I don't think so. That's a whiskey bottle, that brown one. Welcome to another morning in Paradise in Thailand. Beautiful morning out. I ran out here earlier for just a minute. Couldn't hardly see anything because of the smoke. I don't see anybody burning. I don't know where it's coming from, but it was just thick with smoke laying on the ground. You kind of see it off in the distance still, but it's cleared out pretty much now. So don't know what the deal was. Like I said, I haven't seen anybody burning for a couple weeks. The fence crew's still off. The roof crew got all the rafters in. They put some cross supports in here, tack welded in, as you can see. So it's all got to go back and get full welded today, all the way through this outside area, and then they still have to paint all the welds. As I said in yesterday's video, this is a metal roof with styrofoam insulation attached to the back of it. Insulation, for my purpose, was sound when it's raining. It's still going to be noisy as hell, but a little insulation is better than nothing at all to kind of deaden that sound from the rain hitting it. Sampit and I talked last night. The plan is to have the bedroom here and a hallway here. I think we've decided to talk to Duke about moving the doorway around to here, getting rid of this hallway, just to make our master bedroom a little bit bigger. I think it's big enough, but she said she thought it was kind of small, so we'll get rid of that. We'll just put big double windows right there, and if we need to air out the house, we'll just open those windows and leave the door to the bedroom open. It's coming together fast. Man, I would have to think today they would probably get a delivery of the tiles for the roof. I'm pretty sure they'll do this roof first and then do the metal last, because if they drop something, it's going to come down and hit the metal. But I just feel sorry for the people that's got to finish this wall off up above this soffit here in this little tight space. They're probably going to have to crawl up through here and climb down through there to skim coat and paint that outside wall. I guess you could probably belly slide under that, but again, it's not my problem. This well motor is a soft start motor, so it slowly speeds up, but when it stops, it just comes to a dead stop and it jumps around. So I made these little tabs this morning. When the guys get over here with the welder, I'm going to put 3 tabs on the side of it and just screw it into the sides of the well head and the well pipe. 3 grades of tiles. They've got a cheap, thin, lightweight one, a medium grade one, and a high grade one, I guess. We got the medium grade. So they want them clear back over here if they can get them there. And they should. That's a pretty big crane. You see they kind of got a tongue and groove where they overlap. I don't know if they put a sealer in there or not. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay. Yep. So what you're saying, you put a screw in here, overlap it here, and then put a screw here, overlap it. Just like you would regular shingles in the West. They're laughing at me. Stupid farang. Looks like we got 7 pallets. I didn't notice on this pallet, but I can see them on there. There's tongue and grooves on the ends of them too to kind of overlap. And over here, these are what I believe are starter strips. Basically, you stick them at the very bottom of the roof around the edge to start your first row. It kind of keeps them up off the edge. These appear to be gap fillers for E-filler unit. Yeah, they're gap fillers to put under the first row of tiles. Oh, and this is a waterproof membrane for the starter strip. There's a starter strip. So you're going to put this down on the frame right by the fascia board, on the top of the fascia board. And then this is going to be sticky on 2 sides, it looks like. Peel that off, stick it here, and then stick it back up on the roof. And that's if any water gets back up under the end of the shingle via wind or just the way the water flows. If any water gets back up in there, it won't get into your roof. It'll just get on this membrane and run out. And then, of course, a box of screws. And those back there are the thermal barrier I was talking about earlier. And I compared it to a survival blanket, I think yesterday or the day before, which is kind of what it is, because all it does is it's a thermal barrier between the steel structure and the cement tiles. Heat that's generated in those tiles during the day when the sun's shining on, that radiated heat is reflected back, so it helps keep the house cool. As I said the other day, we're going to talk to Duke about putting insulation in the ceiling itself. So that's what we got for roofing materials. I'm not going to record this whole unloading process. So I come walking by this stack of tiles and I see this piece laying here. So we start looking, we can't figure out where it came from. Boss man pulls that off there, big broken piece there. And then on this other pallet over here, the bottom layer has been run into with something, got several broken pieces. So boss man here is taking pictures of everything. There's some down in there chipped. And I'm sure he'll get credit for it or whatever, I'm not sure. I won't. I'll do the roof.